What you doing there?
I'm just trying to
What did you get to drink?
Start my beverage.
Oh, it's the raspberry one.
Yeah.
It looks pink.
Look how my nails
I don't even have
are a
them.
mess. I don't even. Listen, I was in Nashville celebrating Kelsey's 30th birthday. Hey, Kelsey. And I was drunkenly walking. And we were just like holding hands, dancing down the sidewalk. And there's a chain link fence up on this rock wall. And I'm just like walking. And all of a sudden I like bump up against it and thinking nothing. Hand just drenched in blood.
Oh my gosh.
Like I just sliced it open
You
from
did.
like my thumb to my pointer finger. And I was just like, kept going.
That's what you got to do. You just got to keep going.
Just keep going.
You can't ruin the
Keep
party.
going. No, don't ruin
Happy
the party.
late birthday, Kelsey.
Yeah, we love you so much.
This is the Witches, Magic, Murder, Mystery podcast.
And I'm Kara.
And I'm Megan.
Hey guys, hey.
Hey. So I have an episode.
Okay.
I got a story, you guys.
I can't wait.
It might be a longer episode than we usually do. We'll have to see. If it turns out to be crazy long, we'll probably like cut it in half, but we'll post them both. So you're not going to have to wait next week or anything.
Yeah.
But I just...
You'll get a double dose of Megan's episode.
Yeah. I don't want you to be like overwhelmed by
You're like,
a really
I can't
long
listen to
episode.
this all. I'm only on one lunch break. Why'd you do this to me?
it's insane. Okay?
Okay.
I texted Kara last night. I was like, oh my God.
She's like, get ready.
Okay.
I was like, oh gosh.
It's a murder story. And it is we're going to go back to June 22nd, 1979.
Okay.
I was not in the world yet.
No.
No.
Same.
Okay. Again, should have looked up how to say her last name.
You know,
it's one of those things where I say it in my head a certain way and it never occurs to me until later that maybe
that
that's
it's
wrong.
getting ready to come out of my mouth a different way.
Just for you guys.
Mm-hmm. We love you all so much.
Susan Reinert
Yeah, sure.
is a 36-year-old English teacher. Was a 36-year-old.
Okay.
We're in 1979.
Yeah.
At Upper Marion High School in Philadelphia.
Oh.
She was a single mom, divorced, but like apparently it wasn't an ugly relationship with her ex-husband or anything. Her two kids were Karen, who's 11, and her 10-year-old son, Michael.
Okay, pause. Do you ever like wonder, I've never heard of a child named Karen. I just meet adults named Karen.
Mm-hmm.
Like, do you just wonder
I think
if
about
they
this
just,
thing
like,
all the
mutate
time.
into a Karen or...
So my sister-in-law's name is Karen.
Uh-huh.
So it's easy for me. I've seen pictures of her as a child. I can picture it.
Yeah.
But I do think about that with like...
Susan, Karen, like those are
Yes.
both names that I'm just
and like my
your
granny's
kid
name
named
was
that?
Vera, which now I'm like, God, I would
My
love to have a little
yeah.
girl named Vera.
Mine was Marion.
Oh, that's my mom's
Yeah.
name.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Your grandmother?
Yeah.
My mom is always like, Marion's a man's name.
No.
I can't wait to tell her that there's another one.
Marion Carroll.
Oh, that's so cute.
Yep.
So yeah, I do think about that. And I also think of names like, that I can't picture as old ladies, like Lindsay. The name
Phyllis.
Lindsay specifically,
Yeah.
I'm like, how is a Lindsay ever going to be an old lady?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, like Willow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, Willow sounds
I can see.
like
She is an old soul anyways.
eternal.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay,
Sophie.
there we go.
Yeah.
Sophie.
What is happening?
I can picture that because of
It's my iPad.
Sophia from Golden Girls.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Okay. Anyways, tangent over.
Susan,
Mm-hmm.
the teacher, she had gotten divorced because she'd been having an affair with a guy named William Bradfield. He was also a teacher, head of the English department at the high school where she worked.
Okay.
William and Susan had been lovers for about 3 years, and once her divorce was final, Susan and William got engaged. But at his insistence, they kept the engagement a secret.
Huh.
So no one knew it yet, but Susan was planning to marry William later that summer during a trip to England.
Okay. No one even knew they were dating?
Well, no one knew they were engaged.
Okay.
I think people did know they were dating.
Okay.
We'll talk more about William in a bit.
Okay.
On June 23rd, so like the next day, Susan is supposed to give a speech to the Allentown chapter of Parents Without Partners, which is about 50 miles north of her home. And her kids are going to go with her for like a little weekend getaway. And then she's supposed to take like, Michael, I think, is going to a camp. And then Karen is supposed to go spend the next week with her dad or something like that. So they all pile into Susan's orange Plymouth Horizon hatchback.
Oh my gosh.
Which is the most 70s sentence I've ever said.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say.
Karen wore a small green pin with the letter P on her blouse, a souvenir from a class trip to the Philadelphia Museum of Art.
Cute.
And Michael had on a Phillies t-shirt.
Aww.
I know, so cute. Of course, Susan, the next morning, did not show up for her speech.
Oh.
She and her 2 kids are never seen alive again.
Oh my gosh.
Yes. 4 days later, on the morning of June 24th, 1979, I don't think that's 4 days later.
22nd.
It shouldn't be the 24th. It shouldn't be the 20. It should be the 26th.
26th. Okay.
A man spots an abandoned car, an orange Plymouth Horizon hatchback,
Of course.
in the parking lot of the Host Inn Hotel, which is about 87 miles from Allentown and 97 miles from Susan's home. The car's hatch is open, and he looks inside. Would you look inside if you were walking through a parking lot? First off, how do you know it's abandoned? It's in a hotel parking lot.
Right.
But anyway, if you're walking through a parking lot and the trunk is just open.
Yeah, I'm going to assume nothing good's happening, so I'm going to be
I don't think I'd look in it.
on edge and, like, maybe peripheral look in it, but not, like, let me examine every item in this vehicle to remember to report to police. Like,
see, I just feel like I would notice.
Yeah.
And wonder.
Yeah.
And have weird thoughts because my brain is like that. But then I don't think I would actually look.
No.
I would write it off as like, Megan, you're a crazy person.
Yeah.
That's just somebody who forgot to shut the trunk.
Exactly.
Anyway.
Or there's a homeless person sleeping inside that.
Inside the trunk,
yeah,
the man discovered the dead, naked body of Susan Reinert.
Oh my gosh.
She was lying in a fetal position in the wheel well of the car. There were scrapes and bruises on her arms, knees, behind her back, and on her ankle. Behind her neck and on her ankle.
Ooh.
There was dried blood in her mouth and nose.
Oh my gosh.
Her right eye had discolored bruises around it, and there were bruises on the buttocks and between her shoulder blades.
Oh.
Someone beat the hell out of her.
Yeah.
Her clothes, purse, and keys were all missing. And her children were nowhere to be found.
Oh gosh.
But at this point, like, no one even knows that there were children to be found.
Right.
You know, like this guy who finds it, he doesn't know.
He didn't know she has kids. Yeah.
So an investigator shows up when there's a discovery of the body. I think he showed up 2 hours later. And he said that it seemed like the killer had purposefully wanted to call attention to the body. And I mean,
by leaving the hatch open.
Yeah, why would you leave the hatch? But why would you do that? Especially as I get into the story and like whoever killed her, why wouldn't they have wanted to conceal the body for as long as they could?
Yeah.
It's weird. An autopsy later determined that the cause of death was a lethal dose of morphine.
Oh.
Some other notes from the autopsy. There was a white sticky substance stuck to her mouth, hair, and nose, which was probably tape. Mm-hmm. And based on lividity, which is where the blood settles, you know, after in the body after death, it seemed like she died about 24 to 36 hours after her beating.
Ooh, because the bruising had already.
The bruises on her back looked like marks from the links of a chain.
Oh my God. It's
horrible. And then to think that it took another day to a day and a half to die.
Oh no.
Her ex-husband, Ken Reinert, had come to identify the body, and after he identified her, he asked about the kids, and that is the first point that the police even realize, like, oh God, there's kids. Yeah. So let's circle back to Susan's secret fiance, William Bradford. I'm not going to be able to hide my just disgust for this human being.
Okay.
All right. So spoiler alert, he's a douche.
Man.
When rumors started about a romantic relationship between William and Susan, he publicly denied them. He said that he and Susan were friends and colleagues, but nothing more. Here's why we know that's not true.
Yeah.
They were definitely more than friends. Susan changed the beneficiary on her life insurance policies. She removed her brother and her children and put William as the sole beneficiary. Yeah, like, why on earth did you take your kids off of that?
No.
I mean, if you're going to get married, you still give it to your kids.
Yeah.
She also got an additional life insurance policy and put William Bradfield, my intended husband, as a sole beneficiary to that one too.
No, thank you.
So let's do a quick inventory of Susan's life insurance policies. She had $30,000 that she purchased in 1977, so that's 2 years before this. $100,000 in April of 1979, which would have been 2 months before she disappeared. And $450,000 more that same month.
What?
And then she bought a new policy of $150,000 the day before she disappeared. So, with all of these policies, William Bradfield would now get $730,000 if Susan dies.
What?
I want to talk about this life insurance for a second. Because I was like, is this a 70s thing? Like I had to stop for a minute and be like, do I even have life insurance?
Yeah.
But I do, because my husband is like an actual responsible adult who thinks of these things.
Yeah.
And I remember getting like a physical, like shortly after we got married.
Yeah.
But I don't even know like anything else. Like I don't know who it's through. I don't know how much it's for. I don't know anything.
Yeah.
It's literally something I never think about.
Yeah.
So the idea that Susan is dating this guy, and for some reason it becomes a priority to make him her sole beneficiary, like over her children.
Right.
It's just so weird.
It's
just so out of the realm of anything I'd ever think to do. So I don't know.
Right.
I was just like, is this a 70s thing? Was insurance new then? Like,
yeah.
Like, they're just real excited about it. Like, let's just keep
And she didn't
buying
have life insurance
policies.
policies on the kids?
No, not that I know of. Those were never mentioned. It was all hers. Okay, so in my head, the only way this would have happened is if William had asked her to do it, but I don't know that ever happened. Just, I've decided that that's what happened.
Yeah.
It's my own editorial
And the
comment.
one was 1977, and the bigger one started in 79. Okay.
Yeah. So here's some more weird information.
Fun.
At the time that Susan was doing all this, getting extra life insurance, becoming secretly engaged, and calling William Bradfield her intended husband, William was living with Susan Myers, another teacher at Upper Marion High School.
Oh.
And this wasn't a secret. Everyone knew. Susan Reinert knew.
What?
I believe that was his explanation as to why it had to be a secret.
Okay.
So listen, guys, as I already said, this is going to be a long episode anyway. And so there's so much I didn't go into with that whole dynamic.
Yeah.
But like Susan Myers and Susan Reinert obviously didn't like each other.
Yes.
And the whole time, William Bradford is telling Susan Reinert that Susan Myers is crazy. So he can't just like break up with her and move out. He's got to play it cool.
Right.
And he's trying this whole time to get her to go off with this other dude named Chris, who I'm not even going to tell you about because it's too ridiculous. But like, just know that William Bradfield is behind the scenes trying to orchestrate this whole thing.
On earth.
Yeah. And now, because that's not enough, aside from Susan Reinert and Susan Myers, he's also dating 2 other women, one of whom was a former student named Wendy Ziegler.
My gosh.
There was also at least one article that said he was actually married, but like didn't have any relationship with the woman he was married to. But I only found that mention once, so I'm not going to.
This man
Point is
a mess.
He sucks. Like, he's just terrible. So,
what?
And okay. And while all this is happening.
Yes.
On top of the life insurance policies, Susan Reinert withdrew $25,000 from her savings account so that William could invest the money for the 2 of them. Just give me $20,000, baby. I'll take care of it.
Sounds amazing.
I'm a man.
I'm a man.
I know how to do money. You don't.
You don't know. I know how to handle all the monies.
So, in this case, we do know, like, he specifically asked her to do that.
Yeah.
And she did because, for reasons I cannot explain, she trusted him.
Okay.
Clearly. And what did
because
he do?
He's a man.
What did he? Yeah. He's a man. He knows more about money than I do.
What did he look like? Did he have a body of a god?
You know, I didn't even look him up because I was just so like, I hate him.
Yeah.
I think later in here, I just specifically was just like, I hate him.
I hate him so much. Okay.
So what did William do with that $25,000?
He didn't invest it, I'm assuming.
Oh, well, Kara.
Jeez.
Why would you say
Why
that?
would I assume that?
You don't think he's a good guy?
No.
But he told her he was going to invest it, Kara.
But he loved all of them.
He gave it to Wendy, the former student turned girlfriend.
What?
And had her put it in a safety deposit box under her name. So she did.
Huh.
Mm-hmm.
What's Wendy gonna do with all these monies? Bail him out of jail when he kills somebody?
I don't know, Kara.
Oh my God.
When Susan and her children disappeared, Bradfield was spending the weekend at the beach in Cape May, New Jersey. He wasn't alone there. He was with a group of men and women, and according to the rumors, it was a swingers party. Oh. Apparently, it was well known that there was a group of Upper Merion teachers who engaged in swinging sex parties. And so, I just put, what was this school? What? Who are these people? How did they all end up at the same place?
Who are you?
I feel like it's possible that the swinging sex party thing was just an exaggerated take on how William Bradford was dating multiple women who worked at the school, and it turned into there's just a bunch of sex-crazed teachers.
Yeah, and he's
when really
just
it's just that William
everybody
Bradford
wants to sleep with me.
Bradfield.
Everybody wants to sleep with me.
Anytime I say Bradford, guys, just know I mean Bradfield, okay?
Yeah, we're just
apparently I even typed it as Bradford right here. Professional podcast store.
That's what we do, guys.
Okay. So while we're talking about the school, I want to bring up someone else who worked at the school.
Oh my gosh.
His name was J.C. Smith. And every time he's referenced, he's called J.C. Smith, which number one makes me think of Jay-Z, but also I'm like, is there another J. Smith that we're...
Yeah.
Because this is before Silent Bob and Jay, so I don't know.
Yeah.
He was an Army veteran and the principal at Upper Merion High School from 1966 until 1978. So he left a year before Susan Reinert disappeared.
Okay.
So we're going to take a little detour into J.C. Smith's personal life, but you're going to be interested. I promise.
I'm loving this.
So many.
Deep breath.
So many pages.
Deep breath. Okay.
In 1976, 3 years before Susan's disappearance, the principal's 24-year-old daughter, Stephanie, and her husband, Edward Hunsberger, moved in with him. Okay. Stephanie and Edward were both heroin addicts, and they were moving in with her dad in the hopes of a fresh start.
Okay.
Edward was on probation for armed robbery, and this required him to stay in contact with his probation officer and attend a drug treatment program. And then he and Stephanie were both enrolled in the same methadone clinic. And Stephanie did sex work to earn money because they had a hard time holding jobs because of the addicts. Right. So, on February 25th, 1978, Edward and Stephanie went to visit Edward's parents. They lived in the same area as J.C. Smith. When they left, Edward told his parents they'd be back later, but they never came back. And then a few weeks go by, and they still haven't heard from him. And so Edward's parents contacted J.C. Smith to see if he knew where they were. And Jay said, well, they went off to California because they owe a local drug dealer a lot of money. And so they basically ran away to avoid the problem. Great. He said they'd left so quickly that they hadn't even taken any of their personal stuff with him. What?
It's questionable. It's questionable.
Stephanie's counselor at the methadone clinic also contacted Jay because she didn't show up for her treatment. And because Jay is terrible at this, he has a totally different story for the counselor.
Oh, okay.
To her, he said that Stephanie and Edward had gotten their hands on Placidil, which is a really strong sedative, as well as some really good pot. And so now they've gone into seclusion to detox by themselves.
Because that's the healthy thing to do.
It's a lot of details. He has a lot of details in his
stories. He really does.
J.C. Smith cashed both Stephanie and Eddie's welfare checks after their disappearance for 6 months, forging their signatures. And to this day, Stephanie and Edward are still missing. They've never been found.
We haven't, searched basements or anything. Okay.
On August 19th, 1978, police officers responded to a 911 call reporting suspicious activity at the Gateway Shopping Center in Chester County. When they got there, they found J.C. Smith.
Good old principal.
In his car in the parking lot. And when they searched his car, they found several loaded handguns, a hooded mask, a bunch of burglary tools. They didn't say what burglary tools they were, but I don't know, like a crowbar? Maybe?
Yeah, I don't know.
Smith explained that
why is this principal moonlighting as a burglar? I don't know. What?
Smith said he carried the guns to scare off people who were harassing him.
Who? His kids' drug dealers?
I don't know. People also found a syringe filled with morphine, which, if you recall, was determined to be the cause of Susan Reinert's death.
Yes.
Jay claimed, well, my daughter and son-in-law are heroin addicts, and they must have put the drugs in my car without me knowing it.
Of course, but they've been missing for 6 months, bud.
Mm-hmm. The cops were smarter than J.C. Smith, so they got a warrant to search his house. They didn't believe this whole thing. And here's what they found. More firearms. 3 pounds of marijuana. A whole bunch of prescription pills. Security guard uniforms and badges.
Wow.
And a massive cache of porn, much of it dealing with bestiality. And again, I say, what was this school?
What?
Who were these people?
What are y'all doing for a living out there?
Good Lord. If you went to Upper Marion High School, message us immediately.
Immediately, ASAP. We need to know.
Are you okay?
We need to know of all the happenings.
Can you imagine, though, the parents of the children at the school had to have been like, what?
What?
Police arrested Smith for possession of drugs with intent to deliver and for possession of stolen property. But wait, there's more.
Okay. Well,
there were, I think I forgot to say, they also found 4 gallons of nitric acid and some office equipment, all of which had been reported stolen from the high school. So that's what the stolen property charge is for. So there were 2 unsolved armed robberies from earlier in the year. In both of the cases, the robber had arrived wearing a security guard uniform.
Oh my God.
And pretended to be there to get the day's receipts. They were both like retail stores.
Oh.
As you've probably already guessed,
yep.
J.C. Smith matched the description of the robber, and the uniforms found in his house
I bet he did.
matched the description of what the robber had been wearing.
Huh?
I'm sorry, he hasn't gone to trial yet, Kara. Okay.
Yep, I'll let it slide. I'll let this slide.
So Smith was also charged with armed robbery.
She's OP'd.
At that point, Upper Marion High School fires the principal, which is the first good thing I've read about the school.
I mean, good for them.
So all of that happens.
Steps to better themselves.
All of that happens in 1978.
Okay.
Susan disappears in 1979.
Okay.
And right now we're sitting at 22 minutes, and this is about halfway, so we're just going to keep going.
We're just going to power on through this, guys. Thanks for sticking with us.
Like I said, J.C. Smith was arrested, but he posted bail, and he was still out of jail awaiting his trial on the day that Susan Reinert disappeared.
Okay.
Remember how I said
Did he get his car back?
I don't believe so.
Okay.
But I don't think it said.
He can get a car.
You know how he was an Army veteran?
Yep.
A plastic comb bearing the name of Smith's Army Reserve Unit was also found in the trunk of Susan's car.
Oh.
Smith's trial for the armed robbery charges actually began the same day that Susan's body was discovered.
Oh.
And here's another detail that you'll be interested in.
Mm-hmm.
William Bradfield, Susan's
lover,
at least as far as she knew, testified in Smith's defense in the armed robbery cases. He tried to provide an alibi for the robbery.
Ooh.
But William Bradfield sucks at everything, so of course the jury didn't believe him.
Yep, good.
Smith was convicted on all charges. So the possession of stolen materials, the possession of drugs with intent to distribute, and the armed robbery charges, and was sentenced to 5 years in prison. The rumor mill goes nuts. There are rumors about the swinging sex parties involving several of the teachers. There are rumors about devil worshipping. There are rumors that J.C. Smith...
Of course there's rumors about devil worshipping.
There's got to be a Satan reference.
As long as there's sex involved, there's the devil involved as well.
There are rumors that J.C. Smith is somehow involved in the disappearance of Susan Reinert and her children, saying that he had burned their bodies in the school incinerator, while others said he had dismembered the bodies and buried the pieces on the school grounds. Remember Stephanie, his missing daughter, and her husband, Edward?
Yes.
There were rumors there, too. Obviously, one rumor is that Jay killed them.
Right.
But another rumor is that they weren't dead at all, but they were still alive, and they had Susan Reinert's children.
Oh, my God.
Yes. I can just imagine this town, at this point, must have been just like...
freaking out.
Yeah. There's the murder, there's the missing children, there's this principal who's lost his mind.
There's this wild school.
Swinging sex parties. If there are.
But
even if they're not true, they're still talking about it like it's true. Okay, so Smith wrote his former colleagues from jail, denying the rumors and asking for money. I'm innocent. Send me money.
Guys, I need money.
And then Bradfield.
I need those Cheetos from the...
commissary.
Stop it.
And then Bradfield, who was spending the summer in New Mexico with another girlfriend. And that's where I wrote.
Not one that's listed?
I hate this guy.
Yeah.
No, a different one.
Oh, where do you find this one?
I don't know. I don't even bother. I was just like, I don't care who she is. He tried to cash in Reinert's insurance.
Oh, did he?
He did.
Oh,
he was hurt. I mean, he was just
What
hurt.
a good guy, just trying to move on.
Maybe the
with
money
his
would make
life.
him feel better.
Maybe money's going to make him happy.
It must have been really sad.
He must have been so hurt traveling with another woman, knowing it's not Susan.
That's probably why he
laying in
moved
bed,
on so
just
quickly.
like thinking of her, looking up at the stars, just money, dollar signs in his eyes.
This led to a legal battle, of course, where Reinert's brother, her former husband, and the insurance companies all fought Bradfield.
Wow.
Trial testimony showed that Bradfield had been telling his friends for months that he feared Smith would kill Reinert.
Wow.
And yet, none of these people could explain why they didn't think to, like, tell Susan that William was saying these things or call the police or whatever.
Hey, we're a bit concerned. Can we help you a little bit?
But like I said, remember what I said about he was already living with Susan Myers, and he's trying to orchestrate all this relationship stuff and like control other people's relationships. It's throughout this whole thing, he's been saying for a long time, I think J.C. Smith, he's crazy. I think he's going to kill Susan. Like, why are you saying that?
Yeah.
Where is that coming from?
Why are you getting wild?
He's just crazy.
This? Yeah, that was my knuckle.
Just like Susan Myers crazy.
Yeah.
Ooh. Which may not be true.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, he is, even though what he's saying isn't true, it is true that he said it to multiple people.
Right.
And so if just one of them had said something, maybe we wouldn't even be here.
Right. Exactly.
And Susan would be an old lady, and Michael and Karen would be out there living, and this
Their
is
best
so
life.
stupid.
Yeah.
Okay, so at this point, the police have two main suspects in Susan's murder. There's William Bradfield, for all the reasons we discussed. He's just trash.
He's just a pile
He's not like
garbage.
a trash witch.
A heaping pile of garbage.
A literal walking, talking, breathing piece of garbage.
Yes.
And then there's J.C. Smith. And I guess he's a suspect because he'd worked with Susan and had been caught with morphine in his possession. And then just the rumors.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, when you find out that the principal...
Well, his comb was in her vehicle.
Yes. And then also the principal is like an armed robber and worked there at the same time. And then a teacher goes missing from that school. I can see how people make that connection. Police thought the two men could have worked together or they could have worked individually. But to me, it only makes sense that they worked together.
They were in this together,
because I can't figure out why Jay would have done it.
Yeah, he's testifying on his behalf for stuff too.
And I get the motive for William. It's the life insurance money. Yeah. But for Jay, what? Unless William's going to pay him.
Right. Oh, yeah.
Like he's a principal, but his side hustle is armed robbery and murder for hire. What was this school? Who are these people? That's like my favorite sentence. I just kept being like, what is happening?
Yeah. Like, is this school still
I'm sure
going on?
It is, because there was one article that interviewed a teacher who...
Oh, okay. Still there.
Yeah. So the investigation into Susan's murder continued for 4 years. They decided that the Reinert children must have also been murdered as well, since no one's ever found their bodies. This I thought was so weird. Like, why was Susan's body left
in the car,
but not theirs?
Yeah.
And left in a way that they wanted that one to be found, but then their bodies aren't.
Yeah.
Wanted to be. They're hidden so well that no one's ever found them.
Yeah. And also, this guy's really sloppy. Like, why haven't they been able to find the kids? Like, he can't keep his lies straight.
Yeah. Well, we can talk about that more at the end.
Okay.
But I just can't even decide if J.C. Smith was actually involved in that murder.
Okay.
But you'll find out more here in a little bit. Okay. I don't know. I just keep thinking again. I don't think the children are alive. Like, I do think they were murdered, but it's just so weird to me that they must have been murdered and discarded in such a different way. But maybe it's because they're children. Like, killing an adult and killing a children are very...
Yeah, they were a little more guilty.
So maybe,
feeling guilty or whatever.
They wanted to hide it. Okay, so remember the $25,000 that Susan gave William and William gave Wendy?
Yep.
The police investigation found out about the safety deposit box, and they arrested her and charged her with theft and receiving stolen property.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. Wendy agreed to testify against William in a plea deal.
Okay.
So now we are at April 6th, 1983.
Okay.
Police officers arrested William and charged him with 3 counts of murder and 3 counts of conspiracy to commit murder. So even though they didn't have the bodies,
didn't have the kids,
they went ahead and charged him.
Okay.
Yeah. He went to trial and was convicted on all counts on October 28th, 1983, and sentenced to 3 consecutive life sentences.
Oh.
And I just said again that I think that's so crazy because there was
Yeah.
no body. And you
Yeah.
always hear how they won't,
They need,
But
they
to
need
this
hard
day,
evidence.
Karen and Michael's bodies have never been found.
My gosh.
So June 25th, 1985, which is 2 years after William was
in prison.
sentenced.
Okay.
Police officers arrest Smith.
J.C.
Now, he's
Smith.
already in prison. Yeah, J.C. Smith is still in prison at this point anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But they arrest him and charge him with 3 counts of murder. It took longer to arrest him because police just kept looking for more evidence, including testimonies from jailhouse snitches.
Oh.
So Smith went on trial for the murders. And one thing that came up during the trial, one of the witnesses testified that a green pen, remember how Karen was wearing that pen with a P on it?
From the museum or whatever.
They said that was found in Smith's car a year after the murder.
Oh.
During the time when the principal was already in prison. On August 2nd, 1985, J.C. Smith was convicted on all 3 counts of murder and sentenced to death. So, like, I don't like the jailhouse snitch thing. Not that I don't want to
stitches.
I don't want to defend J.C. Smith ever. Like, he's a horrible person, and it certainly looks like, at the very least, he was somehow involved in the disappearance of his own daughter,
right,
and her husband.
Yeah.
So, I don't want to defend him.
Yeah.
But when I first read through all this, I just remember thinking, like, it's so strange that William Bradfield was arrested and convicted in 1983, but it took 2 more years to charge Jay.
Yeah.
And he wasn't charged with conspiracy. And I don't know why.
Yeah.
Because the idea is that they worked together.
Yeah.
And during William's trial, the conspiracy charges alluded to Jay. So, like, that was already part of the conversation.
Yeah. Did it
and if William was convicted of
to
it,
get evidence built up?
Right. And beyond all that,
it could be. I mean, it's possible.
Like I already said, I don't get what Jay's motive would have been.
Yeah.
Unless he really, really needed money and William was going to pay him.
Yeah.
And he was. Remember when he first got arrested? You're right.
Yeah.
And he has $730,000.
Yeah.
But remember when Jay first went to jail he was calling his callings and asking for money. So I guess he really did need money.
Yeah.
So maybe. But here's where things get bizarre. Because they haven't yet.
Right, because nothing's been weird at all.
Okay. Here's something that doesn't seem related. And I know Kara and I go on tangents, but this is not a tangent. This is actually
factual evidence.
a thing.
Okay.
Okay. You know when there's like a high-profile crime and people write books about it or they make movies or whatever?
Yeah.
Okay, you can't publish any of that stuff until there's a conviction.
Right. If the case is still open, you can't.
So much legal trouble. Mm-hmm. Yeah. For obvious reasons. There have been several books written about this case, and there's one author who's a former LAPD homicide detective, and he'd already written a lot of books. Some of them were true crime, some of them were fiction. They were all based on his experiences, and a lot of them were based in LA.
Okay. Which I'm sure are very interesting.
Yes. His name is Joseph Wambaugh.
Oh.
I'm sure that's true.
Yeah.
I'm sure that's right.
I bet that is
so lot of his books have been turned into movies or miniseries.
Okay.
So he was a successful, well-known name in the world of, like, true crime, whatever, entertainment. Like us.
Like us, because we're so...
With that kind of success, he was able to sign tentative deals to publish a book and produce a miniseries about the Reinert murders.
Oh.
But first... J.C. Smith had to be convicted.
Okay.
Wambaugh had already done a whole lot of research,
mm-hmm.
and his version of events hinged on Smith's involvement.
Oh.
There's a lot of money to be made here.
Right.
The advances on the book and the miniseries and the royalties to be earned once both are completed.
Yes.
Wambaugh had interviewed the lead investigator on the Reinert case, State Trooper Jack Holtz. And from these interviews, Wambaugh learned, every time I say his name, I'm like, this can't be right.
Lizzie, I'm sorry, buddy.
No, we don't be sorry.
No.
Don't be sorry.
Oh, don't sorry. Okay.
Wambaugh had
You're a trash bag as well.
Trooper Jack Holtz. And from those interviews, he learned that Trooper Holtz had evidence in his possession that proved that J.C. Smith did not murder Susan Reinert and her children.
What?
But if that evidence had been introduced in court, Smith would be acquitted.
What?
And then Wambaugh would not get his advances or his royalties.
No.
Jack Holtz earned $35,000 a year with the state police, but in 1987, the year after J.C. Smith was convicted of murder, Trooper Holtz bought a Porsche 944 and a resort home in Outer Banks, North Carolina.
What?
That same year, Trooper Holtz hired someone to clean out the attic and the basement of his home. These clean-out services, they go through everything. It's like, it's all yours. You can go through it. And they go through other people's trash because you might find something that's worth something and then you sell it.
Yeah, they have rights to it at that point.
So this guy is cleaning out Holtz's stuff and he finds a box. And inside the box was a handwritten note from Joseph Wambaugh to Jack Holtz. P.S. Since I should start the legwork immediately, we should be very careful about being seen together for the sake of your job. As far as witnesses would know, I receive all of my information from news stories and anonymous tips. I mean, what sort of idiot is like, let me put this in writing. But wait, there's more.
Okay.
Remember the comb that was found in the hatchback, the one that connected Smith to where her body was found?
Yes.
A duplicate of that comb was in the box.
What?
Another note in the box indicated that Wambaugh had paid Holtz $50,000 to withhold any evidence that might point toward J.C. Smith's innocence.
What?
I mean, Holtz is a state trooper, and Wambaugh is a former detective. There were also notes from a prison snitch indicating that William Bradfield, acting alone without J.C. Smith, had killed Susan Reinert. So, like I said, I don't like jailhouse snitch stories. So that one, even if it's not true, if it had been introduced in court, it could have changed everything. Right. It could have at least introduced reasonable doubt.
Yes.
So Wambaugh paid Holtz to make sure the jury never learned about any of that. The clean-out service took the box and gave it to William, good Lord, Kostopoulos.
Okay.
Who had been Smith's lawyer.
Uncle Jesse off of Full House.
He had been Smith's lawyer throughout all of his legal battles, which I'm like, good Lord, that must have sucked, right?
Yeah, he must have.
So if you need anything.
She's just bobbing her head. She is a mess.
Okay. So it must have really sucked to be J.C. Smith's attorney.
Yeah.
Kostopoulos gets this information and files for an appeal, which was granted. And Smith was transferred from death row to the general population to await his new trial. While this is going on, Kostopoulos petitioned the state Supreme Court, arguing that a new trial would subject his client to double jeopardy. And the Supreme Court ruled in Smith's favor.
Oh.
Meaning there will be no new trial.
Yeah.
In September of 1992, J.C. Smith was released from prison, a free man.
Oh.
Right. So, William Bradfield suffered a heart attack and died in prison in January of 1998. Of course he did. And J.C. Smith died in May of 1998.
Oh.
Both maintained their innocence until their deaths.
What?
Yeah.
Okay.
One last thing. And when I read this part, I was like, oh, I do remember this one part of this story. After William's death, a photograph was found in his cell. The photograph, which police say was developed in 1986, shows a stone marker that looks like a hooded figure. The stone is surrounded by fallen leaves with woods in the background. Police wonder if this photograph is showing where the Reinert children are buried.
Oh.
The photos have been released to the public, and dozens of tips came in, but police have never been able to locate this spot.
Oh.
The photograph was found among dozens of boxes of Bradfield's belongings. They also included some writings that appeared to be in code. The investigator on the case at the time of Bradfield's death, Trooper Brian Krause, said there's at least one person who was never charged in the case that may have intimate knowledge of the Reinert slayings. That person may know what happened to the children. He said, I would certainly say there is a possibility of a third person out there. A probability.
I mean, not to name names, but is it Wendy?
I've wondered about Wendy. I've wondered about Susan Myers. I've wondered about Chris, the random guy who William was trying to set Susan Myers up with.
What if he gave her $25,000 to
keep her quiet?
Yeah.
But then why didn't she say that? Because she agreed to testify against him.
Well, she knew she was already in trouble, so maybe she didn't want to open her mouth anymore because she knew she'd go to jail because she assisted in...
Can you imagine living with that
guilt
secret your whole life?
And she didn't even get the money out of it.
I mean, this happened in 1979. It is 2021.
Yeah.
And this trooper is like, there's somebody out there who knows.
Oh my gosh.
And it really just seems like she was killed for the money.
Yeah.
Which is just
horrible.
Like, I keep thinking about how this is the man that she thought she was going to marry.
Yeah.
And how awful it must have been for her in those last moments.
Yeah.
To realize who he was. Like, he's going to kill her.
Yeah.
Like when the articles describe the condition of her body, to think that someone who had been, her, I just can't believe that they had a relationship for 3 years.
Yeah.
So to think that they could do that to her, it's just so awful. The prosecutor in the case said that Susan was almost pathologically foolish. And I hate that.
Yeah.
But because I know how it feels to want to believe someone.
Yeah.
Because you just want whatever they're saying to you to be true.
Yeah.
And that need to make everything okay and hopes that things will work out.
Right.
And you ignore all the red flags.
Yes.
And that, her being that type of person, not only did it get her killed, but her kids too.
Her kids too, yeah.
Because sometimes you just cross paths with the wrong person.
Yeah.
Who will completely take advantage of you.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Anyway, it's just, that's all. That's it. That's the end of my story.
My gosh.
I know.
I want to see that picture.
Yeah, well, you can look it up. It does look like a little stone figure. Yeah. And they've released it a couple times. They released it when they first found it, and they released it on the 30th anniversary of the murder.
Yeah.
And it just never leads to anything.
What on earth?
I know.
That's insane.
I know. And so sad.
That's a tangled web of...
And then the idea that there's someone out there who does know is just oh my God.
Yeah.
You're just hoping for a deathbed confession or something.
Exactly. Or someone has written it in their journal or told...
Or good Lord, post it anonymously online or send a anonymous note somewhere. Just tell somebody where they are.
Man, that's weird. My grandmother with Alzheimer's was talking about this. And
or didn't think somebody else has a copy of that picture, which would be
yes.
Yeah. It was developed in 1986.
Okay.
Which is, 5 years after they died. 6, 7. Math. 7. 7 years after they died. Yeah.
Dang.
So, there you go.
That's insane.
There's your story.
Oh, my God.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Thanks for listening.
Yeah, thanks so much, guys.
You guys. Oh, this episode is coming out on July 30th. And if you're a member of the Patreon at the Body of a Goddess level, you might remember that you get a discount code for our podcast store. And that's going to change every month. So just remember that whatever podcast discount code you have on July 30th will end tomorrow.
Yep.
And there will be a new code.
Yep.
On August 1st. And it'll be posted in the Patreon so you can find it there.
Yeah.
You can always message us if you have issues. Find our Facebook group. It's the best. Find us on YouTube. Find us on all the places.
Yeah. All on our link tree on Instagram.
Which is Magic Murder Mystery on Instagram.
Yep.
Okay.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Oh my God. I told you it was bad.
That's so bad.